So you're thinking about moving to Kansas City? Well, in this Google map review, we're going to take a look at the entire metropolitan area. We're going to take a look at Kansas City North, or the Northland. We're going to take a look at Kansas City South, and we're also going to take a look at cities on the Kansas side. So stick with me to the end, as we got tons of great information. It's going to be extremely helpful for you. So if this is the first time to your channel and you want to keep up to date with everything about living in Kansas City, well, subscribe below, tap the bell for notifications so you'll be the first to know about any updates to the channel. My name is Fernando Marquez. I'm with United Real Estate Kansas City. We get calls and emails from people like you every day that are looking to make the move to Kansas City. Either they're relocating for work, they're first-time buyers, they're looking for their forever home, they want to build, so they need a piece of land, an investment property, downgrading, whatever it is, we can definitely help. So give us a call, shoot us a text, send an email, or set up a Zoom call with us. All of the information will be in the description below, so we can help you make the best decision possible and get you exactly what you need. So let's jump into this Google map review and let's get started. So here's the map of the Kansas City metropolitan area. It's quite large, but let me dial this in a little bit. Okay, so let me show you real quick what I like to consider the metropolitan area. It's essentially right about here, okay? I know if you end up doing a Google review with the metropolitan area, it's not going to encompass as many cities, but we get a lot of interest from folks wanting into these outer areas, so that's why I'm including it. So let's go ahead and break down the city a little bit in more detail. Okay, so right here, we're going to take a look at the Northland, what is considered Kansas City North, or the Northland. Okay, so what separates Kansas City North from South Kansas City is going to be the river. So right here, Kansas City is being separated. Kansas and Missouri is being separated by the river. And if you come up across here on the river, okay, this area is Kansas City North, or the Northland. And then down here, south of the river, is Kansas City South, or South Kansas City. And within the Northland, this area is basically not quite down. This is probably somewhere around here, I believe. This will be Clay County, and this will be Platte County. In a nutshell, let's go into this a little bit more. Up over here, here's KCI Airport, or MCI. You've got Parkville, Weatherby Lake, Flatwoods, Gladstone, Clay Como. North Kansas City's down here. Liberty, you go up further north, Harney. Over here, you're going to have Excelsior Springs. Here's Smithville Lake in the city of Smithville. Edgerton, Camden Point. Smithville Lake is a very well-known area, at least on the Northland, because of the lake. A lot of fishing, outdoor activities. Okay, so before we get into too much detail about the Northland, South, and the Kansas, let's look at the highway system in Kansas City. 435 is one that I use a lot. It might be a little bit slower, but there's a whole lot less traffic. So this does a complete loop around Kansas City. You have I-29, originates, I think, at the Canadian border, somewhere around there. So it comes all the way up from, you grab it from the airport coming in, and it just dead ends right here in Kansas City. So this is basically a Northland highway. Okay, so you'll see I-70, obviously, oh, that's a bad line. So I-70 will run east to west from the West Coast to the East Coast. So this cuts right across town. The other major highway is going to be I-35. So I-35 runs from the Canadian border all the way down to the Mexican border. So this is one that's you'll come through and use a lot. There's another one that's used well. I use it all the time in Northland, 169. This is a big highway to Northland, as well as like I-29 and several of the other ones. One thing that I should mention, it's very important, particularly for you folks that are relocating from either the East Coast or West Coast or some of the bigger Midwest cities is that in Kansas City, we don't really have traffic, believe it or not. Most people would consider no traffic. For me, I'm pretty impatient in a lot of aspects, so I hate waiting on the highway, but maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops, depending, if it's in the morning, if it's in the afternoons. But for the most part, we don't really have traffic, particularly if you're coming from LA, New York, Miami, Chicago, Dallas. I don't really care for traffic at all. So like I said, I'm pretty impatient. But nonetheless, that's kind of a nutshell in terms of the highway system in Kansas City. Obviously, there's a lot other ones, but those are basically the main ones. So let's go ahead and talk about some of the cities in the Northland that are really popular. Some are newer, some are old, but it makes up the bulk of the Northland. All right, so let's go ahead and separate what is considered the Northland or Kansas City North. The dividing line is going to be the river. That's what separates Kansas and Missouri up until this point right here, okay, where it's no longer the river, but it comes down State Line Road. So over here is where it picks up and the dividing line continues to be the river. Okay, so all of this area is considered the Northland. And in the Northland, you have this area over here. I think the dividing line somewhere around here between the two counties. So this area right here is Clay County. This area over here where the airport is. Some of the major cities in the Northland is going to be North Kansas City, Riverside, Parkville, Weatherby Lake, Platte Woods, Smithville, Pleasant Valley, Liberty, Kearney, and Excelsior Springs. I include Excelsior Springs, even though it's a little bit further out. It's still a very popular area. These areas out here are more on the edge. They're still very popular. You're close enough to the city. You're probably, these areas right here, you're probably 30 minutes, 35 minutes from Kansas City. And like I said, we don't really have any traffic or very much. So that 30 minutes for some areas of the country might seem like a lot. When you consider the distance, you're coming from Smithville or Excelsior Springs down to Kansas City, you're probably looking at like 30 miles, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's all highway. Like I said, it's not a lot of traffic. So you're not spending a whole lot of time in there. Plus, all of Kansas City, there's a lot of drive time. It's pretty well spread out, but the benefit to all that is just really not a lot of traffic. So it's basically smooth driving all the way. So let's dig in a little bit of North Kansas City. It's confused quite a bit between Kansas City North and the city of North Kansas City. At least it was to me when I moved out here. It didn't really make sense, but there is a big difference. So right here is the city of North Kansas City. It's not very big, but it's very pivotal. It has a lot of industrial area. The North Kansas City Hospital's right there. And they've got, like, I believe 3 casinos down the Northland. So you got Harrah's Casino, you got Argosy Casino, which is on Riverside, over on this side. And then as you go a little bit further past Harrah's, there's Ameristar. Okay, so we have 3 casinos in Kansas City. There's another one on the Kansas side, but we'll get to that when we talk about that area over there. If you keep going a little bit north of North Kansas City, there's this area right here that's called Briarcliff, Claymont, Briarcliff West, and it rolls into Riverside. This is a really nice area. It's a little bit older. They've got some really nice sized homes. I'm not exactly sure how big that neighborhood is, but it's a really nice area. It's a little bit older, but you start going a little bit west. Now you got this Briarcliff area over here. It's probably been developed last 20, 25 years. It's really nice, very large homes, a little bit more upscale over here. This restaurant and lounge is Trezor Mari, very nice. Priopos is a Argentinian steakhouse. There's a lot of shops in this area. You can see they got a Marriott. This whole area has been built up over the last couple years. A lot of really great neighborhoods, subdivisions that are being built in this area. Very popular. These bluffs over here overlook the river, and we're actually looking for our own home, looking for a piece of land in this area. Still looking. So let's go back into the Riverside area. This whole area right here, good portion of its popular has to do with the Park Hill School District, Platte County. It's very good. A lot of people want to live there. The Zona Rosa shopping district that's on I-29. It's a little bit further north up over here. but that's been around since like 2003, I believe, 2006, somewhere in that neighborhood, that Zona Rosa area right here. So here's that Zona Rosa area. It's a big shopping center. There's a lot of shops. There's a lot of restaurants and bars, and it's a pretty cool place. Go a little bit further, you have this Weatherby Lake area. Now, Weatherby Lake is really nice area. It has been for quite some time. Decent sized lake. There's some great fishing in there. They got a sailboat community in there. Got some really cool houses on that lake. It's a lot of fun to be there. Been there a bunch of times. And it's not a lake where they allow large boats. I think the max is a 50 horsepower outboard. It's something that you can really enjoy. This area over here has been built up, new subdivision for quite a while. The National Golf Course is over here. This whole area's got some great homes and communities, a lot of high-end builders and homes. Very nice. Let's move over a little bit. There's another one I wanted you to see. It's called Riss Lake. So here we have Riss Lake. It's just south of Weatherby Lake. So this lake over here is a little bit different. Obviously, it's a little bit smaller, but the community is really nice. To have high-end homes over there, and all this area has been built up. You also have Park University that's really well known in this area. English Landing Park. All of this area down here is a lot of parks and walking trails on the river. Very nice. It's become a very popular area. We keep going a little bit north again, Platte Woods. It's an older area, but it's still very nice and very popular. Keep going a little bit to the east. You've got Lake Waukomis. It's the smaller one of the lakes in that area, but still a lot of really nice homes. Platteville North, great subdivision. The Cove's very popular, a little bit older, but still very nice area. Let's go a little bit north of that. You see we're getting close to the airport. So here's the airport. So when you come into town, this is it. And the airport's completely brand new. It opened up a little less than a year ago. I think March 3rd or 4th would be when it opened. So it's really nice. It's very up to date. Fairview's an older town close by. It's a very popular area. Let me go back down over here. Gladstone, I think is still considered the fastest growing area in the Northland. It's also the largest city in the Northland. It's not part of Kansas City at all. A lot of Kansas City is going to be meandered all the way through all these little towns over here. Another big point, get a lot of visitors here, is Worlds of Fun, which is an amusement park, and then you have Oceans of Fun, which is a water park. There's a lot to do over there. They have their own campgrounds, and you can bring your, people that are traveling in trailers. Some of these smaller communities here are still very popular because they're very affordable. Go up a little bit north, and then you come to Clay Como. Clay Como is where the Ford motor plant. It's an assembly plant. So I know that very well because that's the reason we moved out here back in '86, because my dad got a transfer to Ford Motor Company. Keep going north, you're going to run into Pleasant Valley and then Liberty. Liberty's a really nice area, a lot of new construction, a lot of new suburbs, and it's right on I-35. You get a lot of traffic through there. The school system is very good in this area. You see, keep going further north of there, and then you're going into Kearney. So now this is where I'm saying you're going into the outskirts, but Kearney's a real popular area. There's a lot of open land on there. If you were looking that you wanted to get some acreage, build your own home, have a horse farm, things of that nature. Liberty, the Kearney area, same thing with the Seltzer Springs. Now that's a little bit further out. So nonetheless, if driving isn't that big of an issue, some of these outer areas would be really nice. This area right here, Smithville, anything around this area's got great subdivisions, a lot to do outdoors, a lot of open land. Hey guys, we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us for part 1 of the Google Map review of the Metropolitan Kansas City area. But stay tuned for part 2. It's just such a big area. There's a lot to talk about. We had to break it up into 2 sections. But if you feel you've seen enough and you want to contact us, all the information is down below in the description. So you can email us, text us, phone call, set up a Zoom call. We can get you cover all the areas that you're looking for and anything you need. Doesn't matter if you're looking to make a move right away, within a month, within a week, 6 months, a year, it doesn't matter. We can get you covered and be able to provide you the best service possible. But stay tuned for part 2, and it'll complete the entire Kansas City metropolitan area. So stay tuned for that. Thank you.